in effect, compared or said that slaves were immigrants. I've been doing this a long time. May not have been a more ignorant statement that I've ever heard in my life. I don't know how he continues to keep this job. I do know how, because he's down with the orange dude. But sounds like a fireable offense to me. It's such ignorance. Sounds like a fireable offense to me, but it's probably not going to happen because he's one of the smiling black people that the orange dude keeps around him. So those are your nominees. Those are your nominees. Go to the Doug Stewart Show Facebook chat group and cast your vote. Once again, hour number 2, we do birthdays and entertainment. Nicki Minaj is in the news. She clapping back a little bit. Also, O.J. Simpson's in the news a little bit as well. So we'll get to those stories. Birthdays. And then hour number 3, we call it the Power Hour, where we really focus on the Stewies, man, and read a lot of their chat and just conversate and do what we do. That's what we do in the third hour of the Doug Stewart Show. But today's big story is the Browns some Clowns Shawty. Let me just give you an overview of what happened yesterday, man. And in the next segment, what I'll do is I'll break it down. We'll kind of talk about some of the particulars, some of the real technical stuff about this, I would call, blockbuster deal. Like, the deal that went down yesterday is not a typical NFL deal. As a matter of fact, I think I heard some of these cats in the Puppet Factory said there's never been a deal like this before. And it opens up conversation for a lot of different things, a lot of different possibilities. But to make a long story short, the Houston Texans straight hoodwinked the Cleveland Browns and taking Brock Osweiler off their hands. Now, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they convinced these cats to take their trash. Okay, I don't know if it was some type of hypnotism or magic or black magic or root or whatever it is. But after 1 year, the Houston Texans somehow got the Cleveland Browns, who, by the way, this isn't nothing new for the Cleveland Browns. They've been doing dumb shit for a long time. And this is why you're the Cleveland Browns. But somehow the Houston Texans convinced the Cleveland Browns after 1 year, they gave this cat all this money, $37 million guaranteed. They still owe him like $16 million. Somehow, in 1 year, they felt like they needed to get rid of this guy, and somehow they convinced the Cleveland Browns, a name that's been synonymous with failure, they convinced the Cleveland Browns to take Brock Osweiler off their hands. Now, there's a little bit of question about exactly what Cleveland's trying to do. In effect, Cleveland got this player. They're going to take over his contract. They got to pay him that $16 million that he's owed. And there's talk out there that maybe they'll try to, ship him out, trade him, that they're not going to make him their starting quarterback. It's just a business deal. It's just a piece. And they had all the salary cap money, so they picked up the contract, no problem, no big deal, and maybe they'll try to trade him. Here's the problem with that. Ain't nobody else going to trade for no freaking Brock Osweiler. Now, I guess technically if they could find a trade partner, they could pay a majority of the salary and, the new team would take on part of the salary or whatever to split it up. I don't know. But the fact is you got this guy, and if your intentions were to possibly try to trade him, that's silly. Why would anybody trade for a guy that clearly underwhelmed when he was the starting quarterback and when the Houston Texans gave him $37 million guaranteed to come be their quarterback after only 1 year? So if you're the Cleveland Browns and you're banking on being able to trade this guy, then I think you're sadly mistaken. Don't nobody want your shit? To quote the great Donna from Cleveland, don't nobody want your damn pick. Right. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. And, these experts, these quote-unquote experts have been giving all of these reasons or why, this wasn't that bad of a thing. They didn't have to do this, okay? I mean, there's no reason to have done this. Maybe they can finagle somebody and make a deal, but at the end of the day, all they really get, as it stands right now, all the Cleveland Browns get from this is a second-round pick. A second-round pick! Man, outside of the top 2 or 3, every pick is a darn crapshoot. You're putting 16, in effect, they bought a pick. That's what they're saying, is that they bought a pick for $16 million. A second rounder is worth $16 million? Huh? Come on, man. Cleveland, damn. This is one of the most unbelievable things that I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so now, Osweiler is gone from the Houston Texans, so now there's speculation about Tony Romo. And you remember, we talked about this all yesterday, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. There's speculation now that, Tony Romo is going to be traded from the Dallas Cowboys as opposed to released because nobody would pick up his stinking-ass contract and want to pay him that money. So now it kind of appears like the Houston Texans are going to be the front runners. They cleared all this space so they can bring in Tony Romo. But here's the problem with that, Houston Texans. Tony Romo is shot. This would be a good deal for the Houston Texans if most people didn't believe that Tony Romo's not going to play an entire season. It would be. Maybe. Even though Tony Romo throws the ball to the other team at a high rate, this may be a good deal for the Houston Texans, or may have been a good deal for the Houston Texans if they did this deal, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But they didn't. And I gave the over-under yesterday on Tony Romo. Tony Romo over and under to play the season, or how many games, at 2. And they get, well, one of the reasons why, and you listen to the Doug Stewart Show, so also a little talk about Denver possibly being in the Tony Romo sweepstakes. But Denver has this real bad offensive line. I heard somebody say this morning that, a reason why Romo probably wouldn't be a good fit in Denver is because that offensive line is so bad and they don't know if they can keep him healthy. But here's the thing about it. Whether you have a great offensive line or not, you're going to give up a sack or 2. And all you really need is 1 sack for Tony Romo, and he's done. He's shot. You don't think that Tony Romo's going to go sack-free in 2017, 2018, do you? You don't believe that. At some point, whether it's 1 sack, it's going to be 1 sack or 2 sacks or 3 sacks. Somebody is going to get a clean shot on Tony Romo in the very first game that he plays. So clearing room and trying to make an offer, a deal for Tony Romo in a trade for the Dallas Cowboys for Tony Romo is ridiculous as well because he's not going to play the whole season. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe, and listen, I'm just a dude that talks about sports for a living. That's all that I do, or kind of, sort of, hopefully for a living. All right? And there's GMs and there's team presidents and there's cats that have been around football forever and a day, all right, that pull the deal or pull the trigger on this deal. All right? I get that. I totally get that. But the problem with that thinking as well is these same people are in charge in the front office of the Cleveland Browns that have made bad pick and dumb decision over and over and over and over again for the past 20 years. So what does that really mean? You would think, and you listen to the Doug Stewart Show, you would think that as this is what you do for your profession, you do this all day, every day, you would think that you would make smart decisions. But such is not the case. Such is not the case. Clearly evidenced by the Cleveland Browns, not just by this deal yesterday, by deals and by draft picks and by everything that they've done for the last 15, 20 years, really for my entire lifetime. I'm 47 years old. Like, the Browns have done stupid things, made bad picks ever since I could remember. Every once in a while, they may have a decent, solid year but it's far and few between. And in the last 10 years, they've been absolutely horrible. Ever since they came back to Cleveland, they've been horrible. We all know that. So you would think that there's somebody in charge that knows how to make football decisions, seeing as you've been involved in football to your entire life if you have one of those top front office positions. But such is not the case, man. You got sham, Cleveland. You got shammed. I don't understand how a second pick equates to $16 million. I don't understand why you would take Brock Osweiler when after 1 year, the Houston Texans gave up on him. Man, when the Browns agreed to this deal, you ever went, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. We got to go to break here in a second. You ever got a good deal, like at a store and you talk somebody down or whatever, and you got a better price, and you got such a good deal, or whatever case it may be, and you got the deal, and you started walking towards the door, and you were looking over your shoulder, making sure nobody was coming to you and saying, no, that was the wrong price that we offered you. You tried to get the hell out of here. That was the Houston Texans on yesterday. They got a great deal, and they started walking away and laughing at the same damn time. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Wow. If you're from Cleveland, if you're a Browns fan, man, let me hear your positive spin on this. When we get back once again, what we'll do is we'll break down some of the technical stuff about the deal. Some of the numbers. But it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. This is comical. This is comical. Like nobody said to themselves, man, the Texans just made this deal last year for this guy. If they're trying to give him to us, that's not a good indicator. You gotta freaking be kidding me. We'll break it down. Once again, the technical aspect of this deal, what it means for Tony Romo, possibly. We'll get to all of that stuff coming back from the break, man. 404-382-0338. You can also email me as Doug, DougStewartShow.com. Man, in a million years, the Houston Texans never thought a year later, after they watched this guy play, in a million years, they never thought they'd find another team in the NFL. 31 other teams. They never thought in a million years they'd be able to get somebody to take them off his hands. They never thought that. And they did it. And guess who it was? The stinking ass Cleveland Browns. Back in 3 minutes, the Doug Stewart Show.
I need to say anymore, bet. Yup. Do I need to say anymore? Yup. Shake a leg and make this petty. Oh, the feeling that just re-hit me so. I will proceed to finesse this as if it was the baddest chick I ever talked to. Oh, yeah, you know, even though my clothes smell like Joe. See, I'ma let you know I got a vision of gold. Yeah, me and this mic. More than love is lust with an appetite. She offered the chain, so I offered the chain. Saw them make